remember the man who lost his son, Jesse Lewis, in the Sandy Hook shooting? And you might remember him because he had some really emotional testimony about it. His name is Neil Heslin. And I want to go to his congressional testimony so you can remember who this guy was.
Happiest day in my life was the day he was born. He's my only son, my only family. And the worst day of my life was the day I had when this happened and I buried him.
Now, every time I see that, it's gut-wrenching. Look, I got kids, man, and to see him saying my kid was my whole life and they took him away from me. Well, he understandably wanted to do something about it, and he wanted to have a little tighter gun law so that this wouldn't happen to other people's kids. And he was in an ad for tighter gun regulation. Remember, they weren't asking for much. A universal background check doesn't take anybody's guns away. It just says, hey, can we check on people who are buying these guns to make sure that they're not mentally ill, they're not felons, etc., right? So here he is in that ad.
Off in the morning, December 14th, they gave me a hug and a kiss, said, I love you, Dad, and I love Mom, too. I got a 911 call that there was a shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School. That was the last I ever saw Jesse alive.
Now, if you're a decent human being, that's gut-wrenching. But if you're not, you might be part of a pro-gun group called Connecticut Carry. They looked at that and said, we got to rip this guy apart. We should set out to destroy him. And that's exactly what they're doing now. What they're doing is they're spreading around information about his past problems. They delved into his personal life in order to be able to, he was too sympathetic a character and he must have been destroyed for propaganda reasons. So they found a decade-old felony conviction for narcotics possession. Oh, no, he wants the drugs. So the fact that his 8-year-old son was killed, don't worry about that. This is a bad guy. 10 years ago, he did drugs. No. You have to know about this criminal. And throughout their letter that they wrote to the media, they keep calling him a criminal. What's the second reason why? As he was fighting for all this in Washington and other places, trying to get gun legislation passed, he missed a hearing back in Connecticut. And they say that he was operating with a suspended license for issuing bad checks, and they say also larceny. Now, if it's the larcenies for the bad checks, I don't know. But, I mean, he's got a suspended license. This guy's an unbelievable criminal. I don't know anything about his bad checks, but I don't care. I care that his son was mowed down. His life was, lost right there, and every parent can feel that. Apparently not these guys. They set out to totally obliterate this guy. So they write in a press release, and this is a felon, they say, within arm's reach of the president of the administration, so dead set on background checks. Now, wait a minute. What does that have to do with anything? So he wants background checks, and he's next to the president because the president agrees with him. He doesn't have a gun. So what that he's near the president? He doesn't want a gun. They go on in the letter. No better testimony to how ineffective background checks are need to be presented. Yeah, they do. What are you talking about? The guy didn't try to buy a gun. They never did a background check on him. And if they did, maybe he couldn't get a gun. And that's what you want, apparently. So your argument, as always, makes no sense whatsoever. They go on in this incredibly ridiculous letter. Heslin has used the tragedy to find the employment he has needed for so long, lobbying against the rights of the citizens of Connecticut and the rest of the country as well. So Huffington Post looked into this and they researched it. They're like, wait, is he getting paid? Is this a job for him? And they found no such evidence. What did Connecticut Carry do? They made it up. They said, this is a criminal, and he's looking for a job, and he's getting paid by these. Where's your evidence? I don't need any stinking evidence. I'm in the mission to do a character assassination here. And then they say, and this one really pissed me off. They say condescendingly, while we all as humans share in the sorrow and outrage of Mr. Heslin's tragic loss, no you don't, you sons of bitches. We don't all have to feel okay with Mr. Heslin profiting off of the tragedy and hurting the gun-owning, law-abiding citizens who did nothing wrong that day. You don't feel anything for him, man. You are sick, demented people, and he doesn't need your condescension. And stop making up things about him. There's no evidence that he's profited off of anything. But it goes to show you how deeply sick these guys are, that they would take a guy who lost his only son who had his guts ripped out inside of him that day, and they want to tear him down even more. Look, you can have difference of opinion, and of course the whole country does, on what we should do about gun rights. But you shouldn't have a difference of opinion on this. This is way beyond the pale. And this is what the lobby does. And I want to be clear about this. This isn't about lawful gun owners. That's not whose lobby this is. This is the lobby of the gun manufacturers. And they want people to have all those guns, including the bad guys, including the criminals, so that they can sell more guns. And they'll destroy anyone in their path. If you're still given to groups like this, or you're a member of a group like this, you have to really look at yourself in the mirror and see if you can live with that, and live with what they've done to this poor man. It's beyond any imagination. I didn't think they could go this low, and apparently they can.